What is it? It is called a Lotro point. The MTX is most pleasing. Yes, Severlin says they are the value of... What are you doing? I was curious to spend it. The sensation is wonderful. I have never experienced such value for money. We must have more. 500 Lotro points.
Hey people, Grot here. Kingdoms of Harad is the upcoming new expansion for The Lord of the Rings Online. There are now camels in Lotro. We are playing the video game. Well, not yet anyway. I do not have gameplay footage to show the new expansion yet, but Scenario has been doing some nice live streams covering the landscape which you might be interested in. There has been no beta so far. Today I'm just going to do a quick video to lock in my predictions for the new expansion and level cap increase. So, without further ado, welcome to Grot Bingo! So, this is how it's going to go down. I'm going to list my predictions for the new expansion. I am going to then explain my rationale. Lotro usually has issues on releasing a new expansion. We know that this year has been rather bad. In fact, I won't sugarcoat it, it has been shit. This expansion is their one and final chance this year to increase player retention, and more importantly, get some goodwill from the players. So far, people aren't exactly brimming with hype. Let's talk about that actually. Let's give a quick rundown on the situation. With Corsairs of Umbar, we were going to a new, exotic part of the world, fit with new biomes that people were very excited about. It came with the Mariner class, and it actually turned out very nice. Some say the raid was lackluster, and that is valid critique. However, we had about 4 months of no raid release, and for a time there was simply no endgame to tide players over. They eventually fixed these issues, and at the time I remember a fond enthusiasm for the future. People were very excited for all sorts of announced plans and updates. Legacy of Morgoth. By this time it was shown that a lot of the plans simply did not come to pass. However, we were going into the east with more exotic landscapes. They teased deserts and canyons, and the whole expansion looked very distinct from Umbar. No level cap increase, but nobody was complaining. They gave players a level boost as part of the expansion, so anyone who bought the content could play it, and as a standalone expansion, there was still a plethora of content to bite into. Class reworks were very good, and the bauble system had potential, but at this point, I think people were starting to feel the burn of so many great ideas being scrapped. However, with the transfer debacle, and with the raid being very lackluster in terms of loot and accessibility, or playability if you're trying to raid during the transfer problems, along with the memory of scrapped plans and failed updates, players were left wanting more. That brings us to today, Kingdoms of Harad. My biggest fear is that it will be more of the same. Promises you cannot keep are no better than lies, and I get the impression that the folks at SSG are being a lot more tight-lipped about what they want to do. Because really, there is no guarantee that they can do anything but the bare minimum. The formula for a Lotro expansion now looks like this. Make beautiful landscape, fill it with quests, make some instances and later on make a raid. No new systems because they've proven they can't even make them, let alone keep them relevant. And there you have it, that's a Lotro update in the current year. And keep in mind that they're only doing one major update release a year. No smaller quest packs, and if they do, it will be more like Crown of Hamat, where it's just a quest line and no new content in terms of landscape. So without further ado, let's start with my Kingdoms of Harad official release bingo. There are going to be 9 of my predictions in this bingo, and by the time the new year comes around, I will do a sort of answer video where we will look at what's happened, we'll play through the content by then, and then we will see if I was accurate or if I was completely wrong and they actually managed to make this game good again, who knows. Right, let's start.
Okay, ladies!
Okay, and here we are. Welcome to my official Kingdoms of Harad release bingo. I'm going to do a follow-up video round about Christmas time or the New Year, because that will give us enough time to play through the content to see if my predictions are accurate. My first prediction, Patrons Coffer announced within the month of release. What this means is that I predict they will do a Patrons Coffer, an expansive cosmetic bundle, within this December period, because the expansion will be releasing either late November, early December. I can see them doing another Patrons Coffer to milk more players, because the cosmetics from the bundles are a lot of the money income these days. My second prediction is raid or tier releases delayed. Now, don't get this confused. The instances are going to hopefully come out at around about the same time the expansion comes out. The raid is confirmed, I think, to be delayed. That's not the issue. I'm saying from their announced date, the raid or the increased tiers will be delayed due to some issue. There will be an announcement on that if that is the case. Prediction number 3, kinship revamp. Will it be in the game? I don't know, actually, but I did see on beta there was a very rudimentary kinship calendar system. It was very janky to operate. You couldn't type in dates, but you could set up events for other players to sign up to. Well done. That's something that everyone could do on Discord anyway, but that's besides the point. I think this prediction will be, if it's scrapped completely or delayed or shelved, or it just comes out as an unfinished calendar system. When they say kinship revamp, just like when they said crafting revamp, players' minds turn to a fully fledged reworking of that system. Crafting revamp, for example, they wanted a lot more things than they actually put into the game. First and foremost, and I think the most important part, they wanted crafting to remain relevant. It was not. And the kinship revamp is probably going to go the same way. That's my prediction here. It's going to be a very small update that no one really is that passionate about. Prediction number 4, unannounced class buffs or nerfs. This doesn't mean announced things in the changelog, but something that isn't in the changelog. So anything from a stealth nerf to a stealth buff to maybe even animation changes. Now there will be some class changes. Some of the 6 set bonuses will be baked into their classes, respectively. But something as small as an animation change could even be a bug. I will put this in the unannounced class prediction for now. Prediction number 5. Widespread bug or exploits. Now this could either mean an instance exploit, a bug that's causing an instance to not work properly, or have the loot be dropped, or even a raid mechanic being taken out of the instance space that damages other players. It could either mean an exploit to do with a class or quests, or even obtaining items or anything. Anything that inconveniences the player base to the point where people start complaining about it. Prediction number 6. Lag issues. Free space. I think this is a pretty obvious one. I think we all know that there's going to be a lot of lag, but I'm putting it on here anyway because fuck you. Prediction number 7. Complaints about the landscape. Now this doesn't necessarily mean the landscape quests, but rather the overall look and theme and aesthetic of the expansion. I have a theory if you will, that people are going to be complaining about this because it looks too similar to Legacy of Morgoth. Prediction number 8. Somehow, Kormoltur returns. Just to jog your memory, Kormoltur was a raid boss in Utugbur. He had no relevance to the story of the expansion, and we killed him. But in the splash art for the new expansion, there he is, just chilling out. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. If they bring him back somehow, that tells me that the writing is inconsistent. And lastly, but most certainly not least, Taffeta shows up and is important to the plot. Taffeta is my favourite character in the Song of Waves of Wind storyline, and no, it's not just because she's a big woman. Her trope is that of a secretive enigma in which the players don't really learn too much about her, but hints about her true nature are perfectly foreshadowed in the Umbar quests, and her big reveal was well executed. We will just have to wait to see whether they do anything with that potential, or somehow squander it. And there you have it, those are my 9 predictions for the Kingdoms of Harad expansion release. If you have any thoughts about the state of Lotro and its future, or you have your own predictions, please let me know in the comments, and thank you for your patience and understanding. I have been away for a while, living life, petting goats, and enjoying some time in the sun, but now winter is coming. I hope you all stay warm.